Good morning, everyone. The Subcommittee on Indian and Insular Affairs will come to order. Without objection, the Chair is authorized to declare recess of the Subcommittee at any time. The Subcommittee is meeting today to hear testimony on 4 bills that are before us. Under Committee Rule 4F, any oral opening statements at hearings are limited to the Chairman and the ranking minority member. I therefore ask unanimous consent that all other members' opening statements be made part of the hearing record if they are submitted in accordance with Committee Rule 3.0. Without objection, so ordered. I ask unanimous consent that the gentleman from California, Mr. Issa, and the gentleman from Hawaii, Mr. Case, be allowed to sit and participate in today's hearing. Without objection, so ordered. I will now recognize myself for an opening statement. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Subcommittee on Indian and Insular Affairs. Even during the shutdown, the work of representing our constituents did not stop, but I am pleased that we can now return to this room to continue advancing bipartisan wins for Indian country. Today, the Subcommittee will consider 4 bills, each addressing a different aspect of tribal sovereignty, economic development, and land stewardship. First, H.R. 4276, sponsored by Representative Case of Hawaii, would amend the Native Act to authorize grants to Indian tribes, tribal organizations, and Native Hawaiian organizations for tourism initiatives. This bill carries a $35 million authorization from fiscal year 2025 to fiscal year 2029. I would note that as drafted, it does not comply with the House's cut-go requirement, and we will need to address that issue before it can move beyond today's hearing. Second, we will review H.R. 5515, the Indian Trust Asset Reform Amendment Act, which I am proud to sponsor with my Democratic colleagues, Representatives Randall and Hoyle. This legislation grew directly out of the subcommittee's February oversight hearing on ITARA. We heard clearly from tribal leaders that the original law was not implemented as Congress intended. H.R. 5515 makes the ITARA demonstration project permanent. It expands eligibility, it clarifies the federal trust responsibility, and removes barriers that have prevented tribes from participating. It is a straightforward and meaningful step toward greater tribal self-determination in managing trust assets. The third bill, H.R. 5682, offered by Representative Issa, would take 1,261 acres of BLM land into trust for the Pechanga Band of Indians. The affected parcels are adjacent to existing trust land and encompass areas of deep cultural and religious significance, including portions of Puesca Mountain. The bill would consolidate these sacred sites under unified tribal protection and management. Finally, we will consider H.R. 5696, the Streamline Act, sponsored by Representative LaMalfa. This bill continues the important bipartisan work this committee has done on tribal self-governance. It would allow self-governing tribes with compacted realty programs to conduct their own appraisals using federal standards and require those appraisals to be accepted by the Department of the Interior. This is a practical reform that reduces bottlenecks, accelerates economic and housing projects, and respects the capacity tribes have already demonstrated. This bill stems from the House Natural Resources important self-governance work, including the groundbreaking bipartisan field hearing that we had earlier this year in Oklahoma City in April. We look forward to refining this legislation so that land transactions are more efficient and tribal sovereignty is strengthened. Each of these bills reflects constructive work by members on both sides of the aisle, and each addresses a real identified need in Indian country. I want to thank all of our witnesses for being here today. We appreciate your expertise, your time, and your leadership. I look forward to a productive and bipartisan conversation on these important proposals.